This film tells the story of a poor girl named Ting and a boy named Cheng. Cheng is a loan collector who has a tough job. He has to collect money from people who borrowed it but can't pay it back. To get the money, he often beats them up and scares them. Cheng is going to die soon, which adds to the sadness of his story. Despite his rough job, he is also struggling with his own problems. The movie shows how Ting and Cheng's lives are full of difficulties. It shows how they cope with their challenges. Welcome to Binge Bob, your ultimate destination for adventure. Cheng works for a woman known as Madam, who seems to have influence and power in their community. On Madam's orders, Cheng and his team visit a hospital to collect money from a person who is in a coma. It turns out that the comatose person is Ting's father. Ting, the daughter of the comatose man, arrives at the hospital and begins caring for her father. When Cheng and his team demand money from Ting's father, she stands up to them. She threatens to involve the police if they don't leave. Despite her warning, they keep harassing Ting and her father. This is causing them distress. After someone threatened him, Ting has to sign a scary paper. It says that if she doesn't pay the money within a few days, she'll have to give parts of her body instead. This puts Ting in a really scary situation. While all this is happening, Cheng starts to act differently. He becomes really interested in Ting, almost like he's obsessed with her. Cheng can't seem to get Ting out of his mind, even when he's at the doctor's. Ting, who works at the bank, starts noticing Cheng following her around. But Ting doesn't like him because of how he treated her before. Despite her dislike, Cheng keeps trying to get her attention. This makes Ting feel uncomfortable. Cheng lives with his dad, brother, sister-in-law, and their little girl. But their home is full of arguments every day. Cheng's brother works as a barber, and their dad drives a bus. Despite their jobs, life is tough, and it's a lot that adds to the tension at home. Cheng goes to Ting's workplace. There, he sees Ting's boss touching her inappropriately at work. He gets angry and ends up fighting with the boss. Then, the police arrive because of the fight. The police arrive and take Cheng and Ting away. But Cheng is determined to win Ting over no matter what. He offers to take her out on a date, but with a twist. For every date they go on, the loan amount will decrease. This means Ting will owe less money each time they go out. But it also means she'll have to spend time with Cheng, which she doesn't want. Ting is furious and throws a glass of juice at Cheng before storming off. Ting goes to the hospital. She realizes she urgently needs the money. She never got it before and has to pay the bill. Desperate, she starts calling her relatives to ask for help. But nobody answers her calls. Those who do are dismissive and say they are busy before hanging up on her. This leaves Ting feeling even more helpless and frustrated. She has no option left but to say yes to Cheng's offer. She approaches Cheng and agrees to hang out with him. They agree that they will only eat food and nothing more. Cheng is thrilled by this arrangement and remains excited for the next few days. Cheng even goes to the hospital to take care of Ting's father. Seeing this, Ting starts to believe that Cheng isn't a bad person after all. She begins to feel happier with Cheng, and even goes to a restaurant to eat with him. Cheng is delighted by this change, and it seems like everything is falling into place. Then he gives that boy a warning, and they continue to beat up the shopkeeper. People didn't repay their loans, and Cheng often stepped in to save some shopkeepers, despite his rough exterior. But he has a complex character that becomes clear. The next day, at the hospital, Cheng meets Ting and reveals, "Yes, I've stolen all your money. Now don't let me see you again." Despite his harsh words, Cheng begins to harbor feelings for Ting. Cheng's obsession with Ting grows, and he starts behaving differently. He even attempts to misbehave with a prostitute, but ends up getting kicked out. In his intoxicated state, he goes to the hospital and discovers that it's his father who has died. He feels lost and lacks family support. So, Cheng starts visiting online dating sites. He hopes to find someone who can make him happy. He begins to realize his loneliness and regrets its past actions. Ting feels conflicted. She takes Cheng home with her, and he starts to soften. Cheng gets emotional and starts having regular meetings with Ting. Ting makes it clear that their relationship will not involve any intimacy. One day, Ting shares her dream of opening a sweet shop. Cheng decides he will leave his loan collection job and help Ting achieve her dream. Both are happy with this decision, and they've got engaged. Madam, Cheng's boss, is furious but eventually agrees to invest in their new sweet shop. Cheng uses the money Madam gave them and arranges a meeting with a lawyer to finalize the shop papers. However, in a twist of fate, Cheng gambles it away. When Ting finds out, she's devastated. Meanwhile, thugs sent by Madam beat up Cheng and take the remaining money. Badly injured, Cheng tries to make amends, but realizes he has lost Ting's trust. In her anger, Ting tells Cheng that she never loved him and that he must stay away from her forever. Feeling defeated, Cheng decides to leave the city. He becomes reckless and ends up in a fight with the police, which lands him in jail for 6 months. In jail, he learns that he has contracted a terminal illness and has only a few days to live. Upon his release, Cheng takes the money Madam finally gives him. He returns it to Ting, saying it's her father's money. But Ting, still furious, drives him away and refuses the money. When Cheng returns home, he finds his father's health has deteriorated and his brother is in distress. Despite his failing health, Cheng visits Ting one last time. He sees that she has moved on and started dating another man. He realizes he can't be part of her life. So, Cheng collapses and is rushed to the hospital. There, he spends his final days. In his last moments, Cheng reflects on his life and the mistakes he made. Before he dies, he ensures Ting's shop is taken care of, having ordered supplies that he never lived to see. His death brings sorrow, but his actions leave a legacy that helps Ting achieve her dream. His family comes to terms with his passing,